Yes, guys, I'm Si. Welcome to the Cymru Am Byth Podcast live on Cardiff City World, where we talk all things Welsh football, the Welsh national team, and we got a really interesting game to talk about as Wales got a valuable 3 points, but it was a disjointed display, I think it's fair to say. But there was definitely some positives in amongst it, but it was also, I think, for the first time, some questions being asked to the manager, which is always going to come. It's always happen at some point, but we'll get into it for the next 45 minutes to an hour. And I am joined, as ever, by Mr. Harry Trades. How are you, mate? You good?
I'm doing well, mate. How are you?
All good, mate. Like, it was a difficult game, mate. And I thought, like we said in the preview show that we did, ultimately, just get 3 points and get out of there. It doesn't really matter how, but it wasn't pretty, was it?
It really was, mate, was it? To say the least. It obviously is the whole, we've got out with 3 points and a clean sheet, which is what I kind of hoped for in my sort of preview, my prediction, the cheeky 1-0. And it was not the prettiest of 1-0s, was it? Looking in that second half, I don't want to jump to that, right away, but that was, it was glaringly obvious that there's, our first half team is just not coming out as the same team in the second half. And, there was no different personnel change. There might have been a few tactical changes that, weren't like sort of, we weren't able to see on the eye necessarily, but at the same time, it was the same 11 players as far as I'm aware. And yeah, mate, it's just so disjointed, isn't it? It's just like, it was so frantic for 45 and, plus stoppage time where they end up obviously hitting the bar and stuff a few times and so many close calls. It was like, it was honestly one of the most frustrating games or one of the most frustrating halves, shall I sort of narrow it down to, under Bellamy sort of reign. And just glad to obviously get out there with a win. But Jesus, mate, didn't we make hard work of that?
Yeah, I think just on the frustration side of it, it felt like, for me at least, I felt frustrated because I felt like it was a really pretty easy fix to at least address some of the issues we were having, but for whatever reason they weren't. And I think there was probably reasons like fitness and things like that. But I did feel that he had some options that he perhaps didn't utilize. But just before we get to that, I wanted to talk to you a little bit because I said in our show, once Craig Bellamy sees Dylan Lawler up close, I said, I wouldn't be surprised if he starts. And then obviously Joe Rodon is injured. I think that obviously gave him more of a chance of starting. But to me, I really felt like that. And I felt like I wouldn't have been shocked if Joel Colwell had got time either, which we'll kind of get to that a bit later. But what did you think of the lineup initially? So before you saw it play or anything like that, what did you make of it?
Yeah, I mean, there was obviously, murmurs and whispers that he was going to throw in, and this is not even to say that actually every Bellamy sort of 11 seems to come with a random one, doesn't it? At least maybe two. So as much as you try and guess, second guess him, it is sometimes quite impossible. But with the absentees, like you said, Rodon was out. There was certain things where you could go, no Connor Roberts, whatever. You could kind of, if we knew what formation he was playing, which we didn't, but if we just assumed it was a 4. And I think that back 4, Cabango is the shock, obviously, if we're talking, the replacement for Rodon. Obviously, Lawler comes in, looked like an absolute Rolls Royce. I think he was man of the match for me comfortably. Not to say anyone else really played that well, but he was for a 19-year-old lad to come on, and he's only played 6 games for Cardiff, haven't he, or something, or 7 games, and 7 clean sheets now for all comps. Mate, he just looked at absolute Rolls Royce. Very, very impressed. I thought Mepham did pretty well. But as far as the team goes, I mean, are we shocked that Sheehan played? No. Did we really think he was deserving to with, the other options we've got in Jordan James and stuff? Maybe not. Not shocked that Sorba played. Again, I the Sheehan falls into the Cullen one for me as well. Not to be, I'm not a Cardiff fan here. There's no Cardiff Swansea bias here at all. But again, Cullen gets his start, and I can't lie, he's been good in certain games. Did I feel like this was the type of game that we probably needed him in? I think there was, options to maybe switch that around. Brennan always plays, but for me, he's one of the most disappointing players right now for me. I'm so frustrated with his performance. But other than that, we went with obviously Kiefer Moore up front. wasn't really something on the cards. I don't think, like, before the game, as far as like what your predictions would be, or mine certainly. Thought he did okay. Obviously got his goal and stuff. But yeah, there was a couple of personnel changes there. Well, not changes, but personnel sort of selections where I go, like, I've got to question certain aspects of that, because when you've got the likes of Jordan James on the bench, man, David Brooks, I know he's a bit of an enigma and we can't really fit him in anywhere, but Jesus, man, he started like a house on fire for Bournemouth. And you're playing players like, Liam Cullens and stuff over him. And I know there's more certainty with the Cullen and the position. He's played it more for Wales. I get it. But Jesus, man, surely you go like quality of player sometimes over, where does he fit in the 11? I know that's maybe not controversial, but like I can see why a manager wouldn't do that. But for me, like, yeah, there's certain things there where I go, Jordan James probably should have started, and even a David Brooks, because yeah, like I said, a couple there, Sheehan, Cullen, and Brennan didn't do it for me personally. Not to say Solver was that good actually, but at least he tries to take on his man, on another little tangent. But then, what did you think of it?
I just like it's interesting. You say about sometimes you just got to go with the quality of player, and I get it. Like Liam Cullen has been all right. He's been decent for Wales, and he does a certain job. Like he's the presser, he's the energy, he's the legs. But away from home, I always feel like you want someone who can get on the ball and has got a composure to use it. And I don't think, I think even is sort of Swansea fans who think it's a Cardiff, Swansea thing. I think even they would say like that's probably not the strongest part of his game, but I could understand why he played, sort of thing. But then, like you say about David Brooks, like he should be playing on form, right? But also, Brennan Johnson's form for Wales has been pretty poor for a while, but he still gets picked because of the quality of player that he is. Fair, and that's kind of interesting to me, because I think like David Brooks has never let Wales down for a start. Like he's very rarely poor, but he doesn't get in, probably because of the balance of the side, I would say is probably the reasoning. But yeah, Brennan gets in and then just hasn't done it like in a Wales shirt. And it's becoming more and more difficult to kind of defend Brennan like in a Wales shirt, because we all know how good he is for Spurs. We all know what a good footballer is. We all know what he's capable of. It's just unfortunate that he doesn't seem to be able to produce that in a Wales shirt at the moment. And hopefully, I think there's probably an element of he's trying to play him through the sticky sort of spell. But in a competitive game, when you need the points, it's a tricky away game. I'm not sure that's the time. Now, for me, the Jordan James one is a bit more. I think there's a bit more nuance to that, because he just hasn't played football, so he obviously felt like he didn't have the legs to do it from the start, which I get. But I probably would have got him on earlier, and then equally, and maybe there's a bit of Cardiff bias in it, but like I was looking at what Liam Cullen was doing in first half, particularly. He wasn't looking for the ball off the defense. And then Josh Sheenan is good at some things, but he's limited on the ball particularly. So what you had then is you had Dylan Lawler trying to thread a ball through the eye of a needle into Harry Wilson's feet, which he did.
Yeah.
But there was no other options to build up play. So we were quite disjointed. And then what would happen is we'd end up being like a bit more direct, not long balls, but long passes into Harry Wilson. And then he'd turn and, link up with the wingers or whatever. And I felt in the second half, if Jordan James, I think I said to my friend, was like, if Jordan James isn't fit enough to do half an hour, right, fine. But you've got Joel Colwell there who will give you exactly what Liam Cullen will give you in terms of his energy and his legs. And I understand it would have been his debut and the rest of it. So there's that sort of, but you've picked him. So he's there. He's an option for you. He gives you everything Liam Cullen gives off the ball, pressing, everything. Arguably better, but at least at the same level. But he also gives you the bravery to receive the ball under pressure. He can carry the ball and he can pass it really well. So I think when you're away from home and you want to keep hold of the ball and take the sting out of the game and take the pressure away, that to me was a no-brainer. And I was surprised that he didn't bring him on, because I felt like that was the right tool for the job. him and Brooks, and keep hold of the ball.
Yeah.
I think David Brooks could play off the right as well, just as a side sort of thing. Like, I think that would be the way to go. Is
100%.
Give Brennan, and maybe Brennan coming off the bench is a better idea, so he can come on against tired defenders, tired opposition players, and then he gets a goal or an assist, and his confidence is boosted that way. But yeah, look, it was poor, it was disjointed, and I thought Kiefer Moore did a great job of winning flick-ons and linking up play.
Yep.
But the knock-on effect of starting Kiefer Moore is you have little pressing compared to what we normally do. You don't have really a massive threat in behind, and it changes the way Wales play fundamentally. So a lot of the things that Wales have been based on under Bellamy, the high press, winning the ball on the opponents, like the edge of their box almost, you kind of lose that automatically with Kiefer. And I thought Kiefer Moore played quite well, but it's a byproduct of him being the guy. Like, so, but yeah, I'm interested in your take, because obviously you haven't got the Cardiff Wales slant, and I always wonder. Like, I think I'm quite fair. Like, I think Liam Cullen has been good for the Wales. For Liam Cullen's been good for Wales. I also think if I was a Swansea fan, I'd be asking the question why Kabanga didn't play over Dylan Lawler. However, knowing what I know about Dylan Lawler and knowing how good he is and knowing how good he's going to be, I'm not surprised. And I think they're probably the future Wales centre-back pair, in fairness.
No, I think the Brennan one's a good thing to touch on first then. So, like, yeah, for me, Brennan, like, the reason you play him on the right, which I know he plays there for Spurs, but, like, Brennan is the type of sort of, winger that should, in theory, with the pace he's got and the rawness he's got, he is technical. He can come in on his left and stuff a little bit. We saw it, a couple of sort of crosses and stuff first half. He looked quite sharp, but he comes inside too much for me. Like, as a right winger. Now, I know, like, if you're playing Brooks there, like, you expect him to do that, right? He's left-footed. He's obviously going to cut inside on his favoured foot. But Brennan doing it, like, you're coming in on your left. Like, it don't make too much sense. I'm not saying, like, it's just for standing on for him. Like, he can... I saw him whip a few balls, and it actually looked pretty good. But, like, I mean, you want to be using your right foot, don't you, if you're Brennan Johnson, ideally. And, like, I don't remember a time when Nico even got around him, to be honest, really. There was a few times where we had him pinned back a little bit, and we were sort of, shoehorning him, and we kind of sort of sprayed it side to side, and there was a few little combinations. Wilson trying to get involved. I think it might have been after Lawler sort of thread went through for him through the lines, but I don't know, mate. Just like, he's just so negative, Brennan, and it's just weird. Like, I don't know whether he's instructed to do this. Look, it's not like a dig at him. This might be how Bellamy wants him to play for whatever reason. But you just look at him on the ball and you just go, Brennan, just please try and take on your man. Please just give something to where, like, Sorba's doing on the left. Sorba's doing it all day long. And I know he's coming in on his right, so he's a little bit different. But, mate, the amount of times a Sorba just goes right down the left, and uses his left foot to dig out crosses. It happened multiple times, but the ball, it didn't really land to either Brennan or whoever was on the edge of the box. But the fact that he was so willing to do that, like, you expect that from Sorba, right? It's bread and butter. But, like, why can't Brennan do that? Brennan's a Premier League footballer. Like, Brennan is more than capable of doing what Sorba did on the right, if that makes sense. I just don't understand why he makes the pitch so small and comes in. It baffles me genuinely, because he is one of our most athletic players by probably a mile, right? Like, he's probably, if you had him in an 100-meter race, he's going to be up there top 3 with, like, a Dan James or even a Sorba, right? So it just frustrated the life out of me. I got to be honest. And yeah, like, midfield as well. Like, you're looking for, like, a Sheehan to sort of shore things up and stuff. And he played okay, but for me, a little bit too sloppy. Like, he had 91% accurate passing, which is, like, decent. Harry Wilson had a 93, and you got to think, like, Harry Wilson's trying to thread through, like, even more important balls, right? So as the 6, like, I'm not saying 91's bad, but it's like, it's probably what you would expect from a 6 that isn't really trying too many, tough passes. If you look at Cullen made 25 passes out of 30, which is an 83%. Like, no key passes. Harry had 4. To be fair, Sheehan had 2. I don't remember the 2, to be fair, but he did have them. I can't really knock that. But I don't know. I just don't think Cullen is effective enough. Like, I just look at the stats every game, and I look at what I see, and he has chipped in with a goal or 2. I'll give you that. But on the whole, like, you're looking at his passes, his key passes, I just don't see enough. And then we're talking about, like, Preston and stuff. He won 2 duels, like, and he was only involved in 3, mind. So it's not as if, like, he's, like, I don't know. it just worries me a little bit. Like I know I'm just not seeing the effectiveness of him. Like from like just a viewer standpoint, if I'm on the pitch with him, it might be a bit different, right? And you can appreciate it a little bit more. And I get it, right? It's a completely different sort of just point of view. But from what I'm seeing, I just don't think we're getting enough out of Cullen and a Sheehan. Now, obviously, Ampadu would be playing that Sheehan role, so it's one of them where you go, he fits for now type of thing. He's obviously not first number 6 on the team sheet, and that we have to just deal with that, right? Like, there's no alternative if if we're saying Jordan James isn't fit. But if he's not fit, side, you can't take him then, can you? Surely he was fit to do like a half at minimum, if that was to be the case.
If he's not fit, like, why aren't you playing Charlie Crew or?
Well, yeah, fine.
Well, I get they're young, but they're there because you've got.
Well, he played Lawler, so there's no excuse. I don't want to hear the young thing, really. Yeah. From that, like he played Lawler, so, and he didn't have to. He could have played Cabango quite comfortably, right? We know how good Cabango can be for us, and he's for us. So it wasn't as if like he needed to play Lawler. It was a choice, and he backed him, and it obviously worked out. Now, okay, do you take 2 or 3 risks? Maybe not. Away to fucking Kazakhstan, like,
but away from home though, like, to change the game and to get hold of the game. I think that's the important thing. Is we needed to get hold of the game because they were just all over us. They were creating really clear chances. We needed to get hold of the ball and get control of the game, and we just never did, which meant that for the whole of that second half, it was just like heart in your mouth stuff against a team that you really should be beating. Now,
guess how many shots they had?
Oh, I reckon at least sort of 15, something like that.
14, yeah. We only had 16. And 9 of those came in the second half compared to 5 in the first. So it was an obvious onslaught for them. So, it was obvious to watch. They weren't all over us ball possession wise. I'll give them that. It was 37-63. We still dominated possession, but it just felt like we'd lose it and we'd just be on a transition, wouldn't we? And just like that guy would just come in off the left, the Chelsea lad, sort of not skin Nico, but just come inside, and just no one was really like, we needed an Ampadu to like come in and just smash him, really. Where Sheehan doesn't really do that. He did make that one. It was a halfway line sort of. He nearly got a yellow for it where he like clipped the guy. He probably needed to do it. It was a good foul. But I can't remember another time where somebody's just come in and just gone, just give this 7. He's 17. Yeah. Like, I'm not talking about hurting people, but surely give him
smash. Like,
yeah, but the guy came in on like, he had like 10 shots. That one kid, bless him.
Yeah,
like, I'm not exaggerating. He had loads.
It's worrying that the midfield looks so disjointed. Mm-hmm. When you just lose one player in Ampadu, and it just all kind of, the structure just doesn't feel as fluid and it doesn't feel as cohesive. And I think
100%.
The good thing on the positive side is coming through in the 21s and the 18s. You've got Charlie Crew, you've got Joel Colwell, you've got Joel Cottrell, you've got Mafiko's on the bench for the 21s today. Like, he is going to be our Kante in a few years. Like, for Wales, he is going to be the guy. Like, but he's not ready now. So you've got to go with what you've got. And on Josh Sheehan, as an out-and-out 6, I think he reads the game really well. I really do. I think he reads it well. His problem is he hasn't got the pace to get across those first couple of yards.
Physicality.
So he knows where he wants to go, like, and see, but he just can't get there and struggles a bit physically. And then on the ball, he's very limited, which, of course, like, he doesn't get in the Bolton side from the start. So you can't expect him to be prime Pirlo, like,
For sure.
But also on the other side of that, you've got to get Jordan James fit, of course, I think, because he can play that 6 and at least maybe not be as good as Ampadu, but at least he gives you an all-around player there. Like, question for you. For Wales, do you think Nico is better on a left?
I definitely think there's an argument for that, mate, 100%, especially like the fact that we know Sorba loves sort of bombing down the wing, and normally your fullback would come on the outside. But for us, if Nico was to play left back or, left wing back, obviously, he'd be the one probably coming in and Sorba going really wide, which I think works quite well. Because for me, Ben Davies, he gets exposed a little bit at left back for me. Not that he did in that game, but against a real top winger, imagine a Doku against him. Like, let's just call a spade a spade. It's going to kill him, yeah. And, as much as he can read the game and he's a fantastic sort of interceptor and stuff, and I'll never doubt that. And he's an absolute legend for us and a leader. We need him, like, for sure. But for me, he has to play centre-back if everyone's fit. It's just or in a 3. Like, I don't mind him in, like, a 3, like as the left centre-back, if that makes sense.
So against Belgium, I think we probably will go with a 3. And I would be very happy if we ended up... If Rodon's out, assuming, I would be very happy if we go with Ben Davies, Meepham, and Lawler. I think that's a good back three. If
Yeah.
Rodon's back, I would drop Rodon in for me, but I would keep Dylan Lawler
Definitely.
in there because in a three especially,
He'd
his
be even
ability
better.
to take the ball and take it into midfield and break lines is vital. I think
100%.
you have to set up with Jordan James and hopefully Ampadu as the two.
Yeah.
I would
1,000,000%.
move Nico over to the left wing back place and spot, and I would put Kipaki out at right wing back. Is perfect for him. He's got amazing recovery pace, and even if he is a bit nervous, he will go up and down and up and down. But he's
if
good
we play
on the
against
ball.
Doku, we need him to play this Kipaki.
And you need that recovery pace against
Yeah.
those players. He's also good on the ball. He can invert, he can overlap, he can do it all. So he'd be in there for me, even though it's such a big game. So
100%.
you'd have him and Williams, Jordan James and Ampadu, I think is your strongest pivot anyway.
Yeah.
Harry Wilson behind. I would probably go with Sorba Thomas and like a Mark Harris or someone like that.
Sparky or Brennan or Kiefer. One of the three.
I would go with someone who and the reason I'd probably go with Sorba as a kind of utility striker who's going to just get about a bit.
Yeah, stretch him on the left as well.
Yeah, one is Nico's going to cut in sometimes because
Definitely.
he's on his right, so you can have Sorba to go round. And also, I'd go with someone who's going to press with him, which is why I'd probably go with Harris. But then, looking at it from a tactical point of view, they might look at it as like, we're not going to have a lot of the ball. Let's go with Kiefer and try and hold it up and
set pieces.
At least keep hold of it when we do get it, sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of them. But that midfield and that back five automatically, straight away, gives you a lot more security. And I feel better with that back five and that double pivot compared to what we had against Kazakhstan. Because if we play 100%. That midfield against Kazakhstan, against Belgium, that played against Kazakhstan, we are going to get absolutely mollywopped.
Oh, battered, mate. They obviously
destroyed, mate.
They just scored 12 goals in 2 games, by the way, and didn't concede one.
And I mean, we were unfortunate, weren't we? Because we had a big comeback against them, and then they get the last-minute goal. But they 100%. Were much better than they've been over the years. Like, I thought that was the best performance from Belgium against us
in a while,
for a long time. They normally freeze a little bit against us, and they don't look great. But they really were good that night, and we just were very good second half coming into it. One of the few games where we've turned up in the second half, incidentally.
Yeah. Well, like when you need to. Do you know what I mean? That's the problem. Like, we don't need to turn up when you're 1-0 up at halftime in a weird way. You know what I'm saying? Whereas if you're 1-0 down, obviously.
We just needed to get control of that game.
And why don't we? Seriously, though, Si? Like, is it fitness? Like, what is the reason why we can't just be calm and look after the ball for 15, 20 minutes when we first come out, kill the game until it's the 60th, bring a few subs on, and just be comfortable? Like, I get other teams are going to come out and play, or teams in general are going to come out and play against us when they're 1-0 down. Like, that's a given, but surely to God we can handle it a bit better than we do, Si.
We
can't play down to fitness,
we should be able to look after the ball. And it
ain't early season. I'm not having that.
The players should be relatively fit because it's early in the season. I think the problem against Kazakhstan was simply personnel, if I'm being honest. Like,
fine, okay, I can live with it. I can for sure.
Because I look at that midfield, mate, and it gives me anxiety.
It gives you nightmares.
It's just not.
No,
good.
It does.
And
I know.
Even
average height's 5'5". You know, and I know football's not all about height. We've kind of come through that, but at the same time, like, you know, you're playing against De Bruyne. Hans van Aken's like 6'4" if he starts. Okay, Raskin's not big. I'm talking about the Belgian midfield now. But if Onana plays 6'6", like, you know, it's worrying. You know, if we're going down that road. Tielemans plays. Obviously, he's not huge, but he's not tiny. Like, so I don't know. That midfield three is where it's going to get
midfield won. Versus Tielemans, mate, is, you know what I mean? You give him space, like we gave him space.
He'll start
give them the opportunity
giving De Bruyne space.
Play, mate. Like we gave Kazakhstan. They had so much time to play through the middle of us. That's the worry, because you just can't do that against Belgium. And to me, all right, you know, they'll be up for it. So Cullen will press more, but he's still not going to drop in and get hold of the ball because that's not his game.
No, it's not.
Sheenan's not going to suddenly be half a yard quicker and suddenly be, you know, Gary Speed or someone on the ball, like because he's not. And that's not you know, there's nothing he can do about that. It's just not him. And I get it to a certain extent. like Bellamy, what can Bellamy do? Rodon's out, Ampadu's out. He can't control that.
100%.
Could you have given Jordan James? Could Jordan James have started, played for an hour, and then brought on Sheenan with the game done?
Or at very minimum, come on at halftime.
Yeah.
Not to say Sheehan played that bad to get dragged, but like just say to him before the game, Sheehan, you're playing half. JJ, you're playing the other half. Just go and give me legs second half or one. You know, like I think he was calling out for something like that. Yeah, Paul's probably not wrong there, to be honest. Like, there could have been definitely areas, definitely Joel with his energy and stuff. Like, do you need to bring Ruben on at 60th minute when we're 1-0 up? I don't know. Like, do you need to?
Do you know though, mate? Right, the way that they set up this year, they've both played as like
2 8s, like
those 8s, like attacking 8s.
I don't doubt he can't do it. I just do you need it? I don't know if it's
If you put, say, I just hypothetically, I don't really want to go on about Ruben again, but like, if you had put Brooks on for what's the fuck's sake, Brennan Johnson on the right, and then you put the Colwell brothers in the midfield, you see a big difference immediately because the legs, but not just the legs and the energy they both would given, but it's their ability to hold on to the ball. Ruben Colwell very rarely just needlessly gives the ball away. If there's nothing on, he's big enough and strong enough, he will hold it until there is something on. And if there's still nothing on, he'll switch it to the other side or whatever. Mm-hmm. Now, I wouldn't take Harry Wilson off. So the chances of both of them coming on is slim.
Yeah.
However, I suppose Joel can play a 6 if Jordan James is desperately not featuring, like not up to it. But for me, either one of them would have done a great job in that particular game situation, whether it was Joel's energy or it was Ruben's ability to keep the ball and break lines and find these pockets and press and win the ball. But he also gives you a bit of physicality. Like he's 6'2".
Oh, massively.
Like massive. He's a big boy.
Yeah.
He ain't going to get bullied off it. And that is something he's improved on a lot is his physicality. Like he's
using his body.
His physicality. Like, and I don't know. Like, I don't want to be, at the end of the day, we got 3 points. Like
we did,
mate. In qualifiers. How many times have we played well and lost,
Oh, far too many times on the page I can sort of recall specifically. But I just wanted to point out on the Belgian team that just won yesterday. Like I look at their 11 right side, and to be fair, right, there's not many legs in that team. It's Doku, right? It's literally Doku. They've got Charles de Ketelaere up front, who's quite big, physical, but he's not rapid or anything. Kevin De Bruyne, Tielemans, Raskin, Trossard, obviously at Arsenal. Back four, Castagne, he's just a veteran Premier League player, whatever. The Bast is basically our version of Lawler, effectively. Like he's one of the best progressive centre backs in the world. Plays for Sporting. Arthur Theate's good left-sided centre back, and obviously De Kuyper plays at Brighton now, who's a really good amazing left back. But again, not like quick or anything. So I look at that team. 9 of their outfielders out of 10 are not quick, but if we give them time on the ball, we're going to get absolutely popped. It's just a fact. We need as much energy on that field as possible when it comes to that game. I know we've got the game before that, but you know what I mean? Like next competitive game is Belgium, right? And like, I don't fear them from like a physicality standpoint. I just fear them from a technical standpoint, and I think Bellamy knows that. Bellamy's worked with Doku since he was 16. Bellamy knows how good Doku can be on his day. If we can nullify him, right? I'm telling you, it would, like, I know they've just scored 12 goals or whatever. I think we can, and we've played them, right? Like we almost beat them, but I genuinely look at that and they do have weaknesses, mate. They do have serious weaknesses, and we can exploit it. We've just got to be really, really confident to do that.
So funny enough, I've got written down to ask you about like the way to beat Belgium or to at least get at Belgium for me is high intensity, high pressing, and not give them the time on the ball, which is a kind of basic tactic, but that is a tactic that's been very effective for Craig Bellamy in Wales. Now, going back to that team, which I mentioned, certainly I would keep that back five as it is. I would keep that double pivot as it is, because that's your protection, your shield, but they're all technically good on the ball. If you look at it, Dylan Lawler, great on the ball. Joe Rodon or Meepham, good enough on the ball. You've got Ben Davis, good on the ball. Nico Williams, good on the ball. Capaccio, good on the ball. You've got the double pivot. They're both happy to have it under pressure. Is you could also go another way and put an extra midfielder in there. Say, for hypothetical, you could put Joel Colwell in there for extra legs and then play Harry Wilson as the one off the one, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. So you're almost like
100%.
a
Like a false,
5-3-1-1. And I think
Yeah,
that works for this particular game because you can
100%.
also sit Harry Wilson on the Belgian number 6 and just have him harry about him, stop the
ratting
ball
around
getting
like
to him.
yeah. Mate,
So
yeah,
I think
100%.
Craig Bellamy is all about the details, mate. Which is why that Kazakhstan game surprised me. Like it really kind of took me by a bit shocked, like because I could see this game and the way it was going, and you saw it a little bit in the first half.
Yeah,
and you're just like,
we need to get hold of this. Like,
yeah, why aren't we doing anything? Like, why aren't we doing anything? And I know that Swansea fans will think I'm saying Joel Colwell because it's Cardiff, but I just thought the game as it was, I was like, God, this game's screaming out for Joel because he would have given us energy and he would have looked after the ball. And what he would have done is, as Kazakhstan pressed and pushed and they were committing numbers in midfield, especially, is if he had won a duel or he'd broken through, he would have carried the ball like 30 yards up the field and drive at them, win a free kick or
relieve pressure.
Attack. It just takes the pressure off. He never got hold of the ball and just killed the game. And I've seen us kill games under Bellamy. Like we've just got hold of the ball, popped it about, boring to watch, but it gets you points. Now we didn't do that, but again, I will say we got the 3 points. There was some positives in there. I thought Darlow was decent again. Really, he's kind of nailing down that number 1 spot as the Wales number 1. Dylan Lawler's man of the match, deservedly. So definitely. You get, Meepham looked all right.
I thought you did, yeah. Meepham looked good. I thought he was really good.
You could see, can't you, that Bellamy doesn't fancy certain players, like, which is kind of interesting. Yeah. I was really happy. Like, I know a lot of Cardiff fans and a lot of my mates, they disagree on Cabango. Like, they think he's a calamity waiting to happen. I quite like him. And
I think he's good.
I think him and Dylan Lawler is probably the future centre-backs for Wales. However, what is he doing at the end with that free kick? Like, why is he committing himself?
I know.
What are you doing? Just let him.
4G just went under him, didn't it? And he's a big boy, like, and it just. And
I was just like, mate, I was just like,
just stay in your pocket,
just stand him, get in the way of the shot. Do not commit a foul, whatever you do. And he just. I
get it. You want to commit pressure, and he's obviously just, you could tell he just slipped a little bit, and it just looked worse than it kind of did in real time anyway. Very lucky to not give a pen away, wasn't he? Really, because it was close. It was obviously a free kick in the end, but mate.
What changes would you make for this Belgium game now? Seeing that and being anxiety induced by the old midfield that we put out, knowing what you do about Belgium's squad, not just their team, their squad, no matter what 11 they put out, they're going to be technically, more than proficient. They're going to be excellent on the ball. They haven't got a load of pace outside of Doku. So how are you setting up? Are you going with that 5 like I did, or are you going more like he does,
Yeah, I think, like, gun to my head, I probably do go with 5. I'm looking at the team that we played them away, and to be fair, we went with a 4, which is Roberts, Ben Davies played left back according to this, Mepham and Roden. Like, that's not our best back 4, like, is it?
Sorry, if you remember, Connor Roberts was on a mission to one man dismantle Wales, wasn't he? He just kept giving away dodgy free kicks, giving away the ball. He was just. He had a bit of a mare that day.
But Ampadu, John James, you've obviously mentioned that. That's what the pivot that played there. Wilson just in front, Sorba, Brennan. Brooks started that one, which I don't really recall, which is mad. But he basically started up. It says he started up front.
Wilson in front of the double pivot.
Yeah, Wilson in front of the double pivot, Brennan on the right, Sorba on the left, and it's got Brooks up front, which I don't think did it actually happen that way, if that makes sense. He played only 63, but that's literally what started.
Might have played Sorba Thomas through the middle.
Is it? That makes sense.
I can't really remember.
This don't tell you the full. Actually, I could look at his heat map. Yeah, his heat map wasn't really Brooks. Now his heat map wasn't really saying too much. I couldn't even tell you where he was playing.
He might have played as a false 9, maybe.
Yeah, I think he touched the ball 2 times. Bless him in that game. So obviously he wasn't effective. Yeah, but I think I do go. I go to basically what you just said, mate. 3 or 5 at the back, protect Ben Davies. Obviously Doku plays on that side, so you're going to have Nico there to help out. Obviously Sorba helped out in the game previous to that. I think it's probably time to bring Capaccio in. Obviously, has a really good relationship with Lola on that right side, like we mentioned in the last preview. So I don't have any sort of qualms about that, despite him not starting for us or anything yet. We've seen Bellamy will throw a youngster in Lola if he deserves it. Double pivot's fine. Wilson obviously plays, and then you've got 3 players an avenue between like Sorba, I think a guarantee, and then you probably got 2 players between Brennan, Sparky, Mark Harris, obviously Kiefer or a Brooks, right? It's 4 for 2 places. 4 players for 2
you
places.
could even go with like a box, couldn't you? You could have the double pivot, and then you could have 2 behind a Kiefer Moore. Like you could have Wilson and
like
Sorba
2 10s.
Thomas or Wilson and Brooks behind.
But Sorba's going to be far and left, isn't he? Do you know what I mean? Like he's not going to play the 10, obviously. And Wilson will give you that inside sort of cover. So it's like you're playing with 1 10 and a winger, effectively.
I actually agree with you that Sorba will play no matter what. But I quite like the double pivot of Jordan James and Ampadu. But then I quite like having Wilson and Brooks as a 2 behind.
That's fun. Yeah.
For more. Or even maybe Sorba Thomas could do it at the 9.
Yeah.
Because
he's got options, mate.
He's got the size, but he hasn't got the, he'll press and he'll get in behind.
He's so ratty, isn't he? He'll just rat around and obviously carries the ball so well, Sorba. And that's the one thing that like I'm not seeing from Brennan right now. Paul says it there. Brennan Johnson dropped to the bench probably, which I can't really disagree with, to be honest. It's hard for me to disagree right now. I've obviously, sang Brennan's praise.
Than that though is sorting out that midfield, like that midfield.
It is, We need Ampadu fit. Ampadu has to get fit. Jordan James has to start minute. I'll be interested now. We've got 6 weeks or so. I'll keep an eye on how many minutes. Obviously, Jordan James gets for Leicester on loan. And obviously we want Rodon back as well. I know Mepham did a good job, but I would prefer, and I think everyone would prefer Rodon in there as that central defender.
He's the leader, isn't he?
And he's just like our dirtiest, defender. And you do need a bit of that, obviously, when you're away to. Well, not away, but playing against Belgium. So I think we can frustrate him. I really do. If we can keep Doku quiet, keep De Bruyne sort of quiet, just getting into his face. De Bruyne is aging, mate. I know he's still playing well for Napoli and stuff. He started the season pretty well, but come on, it's 34-year-old Kevin De Bruyne. I know he's got quality. If you give him time, but any player is good when you give him time. Give us some time, and we'll start wrapping balls in and doing things. But not a Kevin De Bruyne's standard, but you know what I mean.
I know the point stands, doesn't it? It's if you
imagine Jordan James ratting around you if you're Kevin De Bruyne. You don't
give
want
them time; they're going to do stuff, don't they?
100%. But then you've got Tielemans to look after. Then you've got De Bruyne. That's the problem. It's only Jordan James, goes really tight to Kevin De Bruyne, fine. But then he passes to Tielemans. It's well, who goes tight to him? Okay, Wilson does, fine. But then it's eventually that's how they break you down. Is they've got so many ball dominant players. You don't have enough rats around to sort of press them. Do you know what I mean? And they'll find a gap. They'll find some space, and eventually they'll throw a ball into Doku or wherever it is, ball over the top to Openda, who's quite leggy. Obviously, if Lukaku's fit, which he's not, I don't think, for a few months. So I don't think you have to worry about Lukaku actually thinking about it. But I know they've just scored 12 and not conceded a goal. But I think besides that, I genuinely think we can really, really rattle them basically like we did before. And they'll take massive confidence in
Belgium as well.
A wicked record against them, don't we? And it's at home this time, obviously, right? So
I'm just looking at Ethan Ampadu. It looks like he might be back quite soon. Like he says, the only ones I can find sort of says he's back after this international break. So 6 weeks from now, he should be up ready, and running properly and ready. So that's encouraging. And look, I thought defensively, as a unit, the defense was pretty good. As individually, and
there was no mistakes. You could maybe say Nico got caught out a few times. I would say, with that winger.
Poor game, didn't he, Nico?
Yeah, he didn't have a great game, but I don't think Ben Davies did anything wrong. Mepham, I thought amazing on the ball. He looked really good on the ball, which is probably his strength. He's not the most physical, really, although he's a big guy. And Lawler was just amazing at everything. I can't tell you one bad thing I could see that he has a bit of a flaw in. He just looked quick, looked strong. The way he pops the ball into midfield is just it is world class. That's what Real Madrid pay 80 million for Dean Huijsen for, because he can literally do those balls. Do you know what I mean? That is it.
I did a couple of videos on him, and in one of them I said he's going to be playing Champions League football in a couple of years, and people were like, "Why are you putting so much pressure on him?" And I was like, "Because I've seen him, and I've seen what he is, and I see what modern football is." the only way he stays with Cardiff for the next, like outside the next 2 years probably, is if Cardiff get back-to-back promotions.
Yeah,
That's
fair.
the only way. I think
Yeah.
otherwise he goes next year. That it's just that simple.
I mean, if he's English, no disrespect, if he's English and he's got like a long contract with like, let's just call it like a Leicester or something, he goes for 25 mil, easy.
Easy.
If he's in the Champions,
they've
I know it's
signed
League
him up
One,
now. So
I've
like
heard
if
about
I'm
that, yeah.
Cardiff, I ain't talking to no one for less than 50 million at the moment.
No.
Even
full
now,
season under his belt, get promoted, and then you can start talking. But I think he should have a season under in the Championship at 20. He'd have a whole 2 full seasons, League One champ, and then at that point you go, okay, Cardiff didn't get promoted, back to back. Maybe leave for 20 mil, or because that is the going rate for a 20-year-old centre back that can progress the ball like he can. It's 20 million, fact, if not more. Like,
yeah, your big boy checkbook's out, isn't it?
Massive one.
The way it is. But Nico Williams, I think one is better on the left, and I also I saw a lot of people criticizing him, and that's fine. Like, you can be critical of his performance that day, and he was poor. Like, he was very poor, but
for sure,
like, it's a one-off. It's a one-off.
Best player normally, like.
Whereas Brennan has just struggled generally for Wales, and I just think for Brennan Johnson, the best thing to do is take him out of the firing line a bit and just
less
let
pressure
him come off the bench, because he'll do some bits off the bench. Like,
yeah, definitely. With his pace, like off the bench, he'll scare defenses, no doubt. But I think we've tried to play him through the middle. We've tried it on the right. We've just not found the formula with Brennan right now. And I don't know if there is a winning formula like in this team. I genuinely don't. Like, we've tried everything. Where else is he going to play, really? Like, you could try him on the left maybe, but he's not better than Sober on the left. No disrespect, but like, he's just not for Wales anyway. So yeah, we need to get the best out of Brennan. He's obviously got tons of quality. You don't play for Tottenham, basically week in, week out if you haven't got quality. Like, it's just impossible. I can't, what I'm saying? I can't say it any other way.
No, I agree, mate. I agree. And I just think game of thing off bench ultimately as well is David Brooks is on fire. Like, he's good. David Brooks is a good footballer, and he can play off the right, so you don't need to shoehorn Brennan Johnson in. And I also think Daniel James's pace is massive against Belgium. So like, if you lined up with that sort of the back seven or whatever I said, if you get Daniel James as one of the two behind the striker, that pace on the break, as long as you've got midfielders who can progress it and get it to him. So you've got Dylan Lawler, you've got Roden, you've got Ben Davis who can play those slide rule passes. You've got Nico on the left, Capacchio on the right, who are going to do that side of it. You've got your double pivot in JJ and Ethan Ampadu. And then if you've got Harry Wilson with Daniel James and another, I just think you could really trouble Belgium. And look, it's like putting them under pressure in the right areas, sitting in the right areas when you need to, and blocking passing lanes and make it difficult for them. And when you jump and you press, you got to go together. And as soon as you go ones and twos and there's gaps, team like Belgium will take you apart. And we did that 100%. A lot against Kazakhstan. Like, Cullen would go, but Kiefer wouldn't. Or like,
they were going in ones, weren't they? They weren't going in ones and twos and
Kiefer
threes.
Would
like,
sort of half go to press. Harry Wilson wasn't sure if he was actually pressing or if he was just covering the space. And it all was just, I used the word disjointed in the title, and I've said it a few times. It wasn't just the display in terms of the passing. It was the press. It was the shape. Everything was just off. Now, maybe it's just a bad day in terms of performance. And, what do they say? The best teams win when they
win ugly, like.
Find a way.
Yeah.
So maybe look at it like that. But yeah, look, it wasn't good, mate, was it? Like, let's finish off. Let's talk about this Canada game, which in my opinion is international friendlies, meaningless friendlies do my head in big time. As a Cardiff fan, I'm like, I don't want Dylan Lawler, Joe Colwell, or Capacchio, any of them to play, because I don't want them to get injured. Ultimately, that's it. Like, but they are going to play. I think he's going to blood youngsters and squad players. I'd be really disappointed if he doesn't give Charlie Crew a go tomorrow. having not released those players to the 21s. 21s had a big game tonight, and they're still playing now. So in my opinion, if Bellamy now doesn't play Joel, Charlie Crew, Capaccio, you're kind of asking the question, like, why are you not playing them in a meaningless friendly when they haven't had that sort of, they could have gone to the 21s and then played, like, so it's a frustrating one. I would like to see, I can't remember the name of the young keeper who's in the squad who came in. Is it Tom King?
There is a Tom King, yeah, it must be him. Yeah,
I think he came in at the last minute. I would play him, mate. I would play Lewis Kumas. I'd play Charlie Crew and Joel Colwell alongside Jordan James, because you want to give Jordan some minutes. So have Jordan be the 6, and then have Charlie Crew and Joel Colwell start. And, you know, you can give the Harry Wilsons of the world, give them 20 minutes if you need to towards the end. They don't need to play, do they? Like, just give some players some time, ultimately. And I think, trying to think who else is in the squad, I can't bring it up at the moment. My screen's... I
can't even think now. I think Dan James probably gets a little run out, doesn't he?
Yeah, like, I'm trying to... So what's the keepers? Is it
King, obviously Darlow. Will he change the keeper, though?
Who?
I don't know if he'll change the keeper. I mean, he might like, but... I
just think it's an opportunity to have a look at someone else, isn't it?
Yeah. Adam Davis, Tom King, Carl Darlow, I think.
Yeah, so I think he might give Adam Davis a go.
Tell you might play Reece Norrington Davis.
Yeah, Reece. So you got Reece Norrington Davis, Dylan Lawler.
Cabango probably plays, doesn't he?
I feel like there was one other young defender, but I can't remember.
Well, Jay De Silva, but didn't he come out?
Yeah, De Silva's pulled out. So yeah, I would go with 4 actually. I would go Cabango, Lawler, and Capaccio, and Norrington Davis as your left back. Go young, mate. Like, that's the future, innit? Like, go give them a chance to play. 100%. They should beat Canada, really, but Canada will have some good players.
Oh, they're good, mate. Yeah, they're decent.
So if you go as a 4, and then you go, like, I'm going really young, so I would go Jordan James as the holder, and then I'd have Joel Colwell and Charlie Crew. Kumas on one side, Dan James on the other side, probably Sparky then.
Sparky, yeah.
In the middle, give him some games. Just to give him some minutes, mate. Because 100%. Some of them haven't played a lot of minutes for Wales.
Did you say Kai Andrews as well or no?
I didn't know, but
you'll probably play, surely.
He just doesn't play football, mate. Like,
I know.
Like
he comes in again. Yeah, he's had some cup minutes, like, but not starting. Yeah, fair.
Yeah, like I like Darlow's going to be the number 1, but ultimately,
100%
that way. But I would I would just give one of the other keepers a go. I know Bellamy's big on not just handing caps out for the sake of it.
Definitely.
But for me, I think there's reasons behind most of those players. Like Capaccio, if we want him to do that job on the wingers against Belgium, then let's give him his debut now. So take away some of those nerves, get him playing. Norrington Davis, Cabango, these guys have traveled 20 hours to Kazakhstan. Let's reward them with some game time, like
100%.
You know, so
yeah, I'm really interested to see Capaccio play. Like I genuinely haven't seen him play, like, so I'm really excited to see.
He's improved a lot this season as well on the defensive side.
Has he?
He's been really good. On Dan James, Paul's saying Dan James needs to find that form he had when he signed for United. He was unplayable. I didn't think United should have sold him. Like, I thought, I know, like, some people think he's a bit limited on the ball, but he was clearly bought to stretch play and to get in behind and just be that sort of counter-attacking option. And I thought he did it quite well for United. Like, but I think where it started to go wrong is when they wanted him to be more technical on the ball. But he was never going to be that.
He's not that, is he? Ever, bless him. Like,
he is a player who's going to...
He's a whippet. Like,
he's going to knock it in front of him and use his pace to beat the man, like, you know?
Mm-hmm. Which basically is what Brennan kind of should be doing, but he doesn't for us. Like, do you know what I mean?
But then again, you put
Weird.
Daniel James in, mate, and take Brennan out the firing line, because
Mhm.
Welsh fans now are so frustrated with Brennan. You know, they're going to support him because that's what we do as Welsh fans. Is we're like going to get, you know, for the 90 minutes, you're going to get behind the boys and the individuals, and then afterwards you'll pull it apart if you need to. Like, Brennan's struggling. He's got no confidence. He does not beating his man. He's not even running in behind.
Yeah.
There was a couple of opportunities I felt like he should have been at the back post, and he was sort of at the edge of the box, like not even thinking about it. That's a worry to me. That is, because he's not seeing it. Like, he's not seeing it.
I wonder if Bellamy's even like, if they're even like sort of telling him, if that makes, you know what I'm saying? Like, I wonder what the information is. Like, are they happy with what he's doing, or they not? And if they're not, are they telling him? Like, I don't know. It's weird, mate. Honestly, the way he's just so conservative on the ball, like, it's just really frustrating to watch, because we know how good he is. Like, and it is worrying, genuinely. Like, it is worrying, because it's places up for grabs. Like, it's
yeah, 100%, mate. Right back and right wing are both up for grabs for me.
Definitely.
It's funny, right? Because where I sit at City is right behind the away bench, like 2 rows behind. So I see the managers of both teams really close up. And I've seen Brian Barry Murphy a few times coaching the players, and he's got that extra bit out of them, whether it's a tactic or just encouraging them. He's done it with Turnbull. He's done it with Joel Colwell a couple of times. Done it with Chris Willock. But I noticed with Bellamy, obviously it's on TV, so it's not as up close, so you don't see him all the time. But Craig seems to be quite quiet and reserved on the touchline. Like, he doesn't seem to be constantly like giving him instructions and feedback and stuff. And maybe Brennan Johnson is a player who is struggling with confidence. Maybe he needs that, like, drop in, go in behind, go, go, go. And like that, he needs that sort of instant feedback almost, just to get 100%. Him out of the rut, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's tough when you're on the wing as well. Yeah, everyone's different. Like, I watched Bellamy's High Performance podcast. I don't know whether you've listened to that yet, but wicked listen. Just the insight into Bellamy. He goes into like the Welsh stuff as well, and he said like it's always on the coach. Like, if he's not getting the best out of his player, like, it's on the coach, not the player, if that makes sense. Which I kind of semi agree with, but that just reminds me of the Brennan situation. Like, it really does. And I really hope we can crack it. I do, because there's a £50 million player in there somewhere. Like, so it's just like, how do you get the best out of him is ultimately what Bellamy and I'm sure have sleepless nights about. Like, genuinely, because he's the most expensive asset in the team. Like, but by a mile, actually, if you want to talk about like market values. Like, so it's a weird one. It's a really weird one. Like, it's so strange.
It's night and day, isn't it? Though, him for Tottenham and him for us. Like,
it is. Yeah, Premier League different though, isn't it? Like, it's a very transitional game, and like.
And the way Spurs
it
play
does
suits him as well. They play on
low, high and wide, and big time. And they just give him space to sort of run into, and he can gallop into it. He's done it for Wales now and again, but we've just not seen enough of it. And we've tried it in midfield and up front, like, and that hasn't worked. So I don't know. I really hope we crack the code, like, because we've got no choice really. You've got to get the best out of your best players on paper, and on
paper, it should be our number, like one of our forwards for the next 10, 15 years. Like,
easy. But, that's the worrying thing. Like, but I don't know.
Guess we'll see, mate. Paul says like Bellamy really likes Kip Akio. Yeah, I think Kip Akio starts tomorrow. Another interesting question. Paul said, do you think it's time to see Matt Turner play for Wales? So the thing with Matt Turner, the problem he's going to have is he started the couple of games for Cardiff at the start of the season, started the first league game, did very, very well. He's like, I think he's 23, Matt is.
Yeah, I'm looking at him now. Yeah.
Good all-round modern keeper, good in goal. Unfortunately, he's not going to play a lot of football outside of the cup games because Nathan Trott has come in and he's absolutely unreal. He's such a good keeper. And I think that'll be what holds Matt Turner back, I think, is playing time. If he can get a good run in the cups and play the games, I think then he might be in there because, you look at all the Wales keepers, they're all aging. They're all old keepers. So if you can get like a 23-year-old in there who's decent keeper, then it's a no-brainer, really. It's an absolute no-brainer. So Harry's on daddy duties. He's being heckled by his child, which is I always like to see. So tomorrow, I think Rob and Reese are gonna do something in the second half of the game. They're just gonna have a chat while the game's going on and a bit of a watch along, I think. But we'll let you know on that. Wednesday, myself and Jamie are gonna have a look at the next month for Cardiff, which is very, very hectic. Thursday is now I gotta think now. Some sort of live show. Evan and Aaron, I think it is. Friday, I've got an exclusive interview with Don Cowie coming out, and as well as the preview for the Saturday game. So we've got loads of content coming. If you haven't checked it out already, I did a video on Nathan Trott earlier on, the best keeper since David Marshall, and here's why. The spotlight with Nathan Trott, which was a good one. Enjoyed that. And we had a video on Amari Kellyman and a few other things. We've had a few videos out over the last couple of days, so check them all out. Harry, what are you up to now for the next week or so?
Just busy with Surrey content, to be honest, mate. Fantasy football stuff, not FPL, but the sort of big bad brother version, I guess. But no, yeah, just flat. Yeah, bigger boy, I guess, but not. It doesn't have to be big boy. It can be, as little as 20 quid. It can be as much as whatever you want it to be, type of thing. Right, just play within your means, type of thing. But yeah, exciting. It's been a really fun start of the season, to be fair. And I've had loads of fun over the international break. I've got like a full Wales stack, so I'm always buzzing to get my Wales cards out when I can. But yeah, no, all good, mate. Just looking after the little one as well in between podcasts and stuff. So yeah, it's been a pleasure though, mate.
Yeah, it's frustrating, isn't it, when the international break finishes, because it's like, we got to wait like 6 weeks now to do another one.
I know.
We should do something. The problem is, it's just like you're limited with what you could talk about with Wales. However, we might have some news regarding the Cymru Am Byth Podcast. I don't know if it'll happen within the next 6 weeks, but I got to speak to Harry about that. I keep forgetting, so I'll speak to him about that. But that could be cool. But until then, we will bid you farewell. I will see you over the next couple of days. Harry will see you in about 6 weeks' time, no doubt. Thank you, my friends.
Yeah. Appreciate everyone watching, and yeah, massive pleasure, mate, as always.
We'll see you in a bit. Keep it faith.